This day 169 of Zohar Pshat. We're on Yud Testament Beis and Zohar Kodesh. We're in the second paragraph on the page. We are 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 lines down in that second paragraph. And we're up to the words Kadisyali Kain. So the klipa, the initial klipa, which, as we mentioned, I think 2 days ago, yesterday, or wherever it was, that it's called Lilith by the many of the Farshim here, although it's not explicit. This klipa, which is obviously the Yetzirah, comes down of some sort, whether it's Yetzirah of an intrinsic Yetzirah of a extrinsic Shida. So in any event, it was Karisal Kain was born Lechleis Dapo. This Yetzer / shade could not connect the Kain and get him to sin because he was, as the Sulam points out here, Nisi Ishes Hashem. Initially, before he became what he became later on, he was very holy and no negative spirit could actually overcome him. But that didn't last, unfortunately. The Basar Iskravas by day. Later, she got close to him. And begat spirits and flying spirits. There's different types of spirits. And the implication here is that they're shadim. We should point out that the Rambam, who, as we know, is the opposed to the idea of a shadim, he does speak about the next line, which the Zohar brings down here, which the Chazal brings down elsewhere. Other Shimesh Beruchim Benikvin, other for 130 years after the story of the kind of Hevel, before the conception of Shais, had relations with Ruchin Nikvin, with female spirits, Ad Asas Nama, until Nama came, who was one of the female spirits she's mentioned earlier in the Zohar Kodesh, Umigo Shapiro Diloi, and on account of her beauty, Tob Bnei Elohim Basra, the Malachim mistakenly were seduced by her. Azar and Azoel, we also mentioned them. Let's Minayu Yimna, and from them another shade was born, Yimna, and I'm sorry, that's wrong. Last Minayu Umina. Looks like a yud, but it's actually a vav. This Minayu, she gave birth from them, and from her Ispashu Ruchim Bishim Shinim Ba'alma. They expanded the negative spirits and Shidim in the world. As we'll explain about Nama in a minute. Again, it's time which is so before the Zohar Kodesh. But one point, according to the Rambam, the 130 years that it says that those negative spirits were conceived by Adam Rishon. According to the Rambam, it means human beings who are deficient human beings, people who are criminals or other ways bad people, and one could interpret, although it's highly unlikely, one could interpret the Zohar Kodesh in a similar way. In other words, say that before Chet, so then people gave birth to tzaddikim. After Chet, so then the Chet and Yetzirah got mixed up in everything, and people gave birth to all sorts of negative people as well. So it's unlikely that's the Pshat in the Zohar. Extremely unlikely, but we said at one point that we're trying to understand Zohar the way the Rambam would understand it. That's the way the Rambam would have to understand it. All references to Shadim were referring to negative phenomenon and in a metaphoric way. But the point is that whichever way you take it, the idea is that there is this power of Ra in the world. And however it manifests itself, could be that there's about Chayshim, Kubalim, who hold of Shadim, and those who don't hold of, and the philosophers who don't hold of Shadim. But it's interesting, the next line here, which is the Azas Mishatesis Balayla, this Yetzirah goes, this Klipa goes, and it spreads at night. And here's a Nusach Achar Belilis, and evidently the term Lilis comes from Laila, and it has to do with the Yetzirah, which is particularly prevalent at night. Azas Ba'alma, and it goes around the world. And here it says V'chayches, which means to scoff, The Derech Emes translated as Misachekes Imnei Adam Be'esh Nosam. Basically, while they sleep, Achimoni they carry until they come to Hotzos Batoa. V'chayeches B'Ibnei Adam. I think it's Losh of scoffing is more appropriate. In other words, the Yitzhar comes and scoffs at people. V'avdilon, thou shall carry, cause them to spill their seed. Uchasat ashkachan b'nei nosha, naimin yichida bebesa. Fascinating. That any place where this klipa finds people sleeping alone at night, shan alayu, it devolves upon them. V'achidon lon, and connects them with dabgibu, and achidon means grabs them, samu, and connects them. V'nat minayu to uvta, and takes from them desire. V'lida minayu, and gives birth from them. V'tu pagim b'marin, and then they come across afflictions. V'loyada, and is not aware that why these afflictions come upon him. V'kol da b'griyut desira, all these come about when the moon is waning. The next we'll tell about how we fix that, but leave that for next time. But the point is that sleeping alone at night is seen not just as a danger in a physical sense, but seen as a danger in a spiritual sense. I assume he's talking about if a person is married and sleeping without a wife, or a person is single and therefore he has no wife. The point is that a person is in a situation where he can likely succumb to Yetzer, and therefore a person has to be particularly careful and particularly concerned. If a person has a pas basalo, I guess he has bread in his basket, so then he's much less likely to have to succumb to these thoughts at night independently, and therefore come to Hotzos Batola. So in any event, the point is that there is whether it's completely metaphorically or partially metaphorically, the idea is that at night there is, and when the moon is waning, in other words, when the Kedusha is on the wane, there is much more danger from the powers and external or internal of treachery and of negative and bad things are going to take hold of the person. So a person needs extra shmira at those times when the Kedusha is on the wane, when there's darkness in the world, when things are not as clear as during the daytime. Even though nighttime has great potential for holiness as well, but any time there's great potential for holiness, there's also great potential for tumah. So therefore, you have to beware.